Welcome to Across the Desk. This week, I'm going to kind of revisit an old show on Governor Stitt and his fight with the 35 tribes in Oklahoma. There's been some new developments since then. I talked a little bit about it last week, but there's been some other developments. Another group has come on, and I really want to talk about them. That's what this week's episode is going to be about. So there's a new group on the scene in the fight against Stitt and the 35 Native American tribes in Oklahoma. Seems Stitt's got a little ally here, and probably the only one he's got since everybody else can't seem to jump ship fast enough. Well, you've got an organization that's just come out last week called Oklahomans for Fairness, and their whole pitch is the casino industry needs to play fair. And this is kind of a bit of an oxymoron when you think about who's running this organization and how fair they don't play. So let's give a little history here about who these people are. Now, Oklahomans for Fairness is run by a guy named Mr. Small III, and his helper on this case is David Bond. Now these are some familiar names. They ought to be, because these are also the president and executive director for OCPA, the conservative think tank. Same people. They're also in league with this. They also incorporated this Oklahoma for Fairness with former U.S. Senator Tom Coburn. Now I'm not sure what he has to do with this group. He's been pretty quiet, so that's a little scary, because this guy, he's a kind of a scary guy. Mr. Coburn is. He's been in league with Dominionists, and the things that he says and the draconian type of policies that he is for, it puts him way out there. And I'm not sure exactly what his level of involvement is with this or anything else, because one of the things is Mr. Small came out and said, in no way is this organization have anything to do with OCPA, except for all the directors are on it. The other thing is they get a few things wrong in what they're trying to pitch, and they really get eviscerated by the spokesperson for the tribes for what they're doing. One thing, they got this ad out that shows a map showing how much all these casinos pay and everything else, but it's kind of misleading because it talks about the casino industry as a whole, and it doesn't take into effect Native American tribes around the United States and their partnership with their individual states. Because if you look at that, then what they're throwing is a pretty big farce. And this is pretty typical for Mr. Small III. He's kind of a greasy guy. He doesn't really... I don't think he's all that honest in a lot of his stuff. You need to go back and see what he's done, and you should see the report Aaron Brelebeck from News 9 did on this. I mean, it's so shoddy. You got to see it. It talks about this new group and what they've done and how new they are and come out, but it doesn't say anything about who runs it. Doesn't say anything about their link with OCPA or anything else. But that's what you get with Aaron over there at News 9. Well, that's just what you get with News 9, period. But anyway, to get off of that, let's talk more about this Oklahomans for Fairness. The other thing here about this dark money group, Oklahomans for Fairness, and I call it a dark money group because Mr. Small came out and said, man, we're not going to tell you who's donating to this. I'm not going to tell you how much money we've got. And you're just not going to know because we don't have to tell you, and that's the law. Don't you care about law? But you know that. Come on. I mean, that's another con. That's what Mr. Small does. He's really good at it. David Bond, he's a little less vocal than Mr. Small, and I guess he's more likely to put him out there as a face man. But whenever I think of things like David Bond and people in the back like Coburn, I think, those people that are in the shadows back there that you don't hear a lot about, those are the guys you really need to worry about, because those are the guys really pulling the strings. And it just kind of makes you wonder, what are they up to? Who's behind all this and why? We don't know, and we may not know, but there is a group out there, Oklahomans for Fairness, no relation to OCPA at all, and they're out there trying to champion for Stitt and make it fair for everybody in Oklahoma, but that's just BS. It's not what they're doing, and they're even discussing things that they're not even in discussion on right now in court. They're talking about you need to do this in the support of this for this raise in rates, and they're not even talking about rates right now. It's like they're off in somewhere else and they don't even know what they're doing. Come on, Mr. Small says no one associated with OCPA are on the board of Oklahomans for Fairness, but him and Mr. Bond definitely are. They definitely are on it. The other thing Small said, the goal of Oklahoma for Fairness is to educate residents on policies that don't treat Oklahomans fair in the manner where there are special deals for certain groups. Of course, this is the same group, the OCPA. Okay, that's not the same group. That's Oklahomans for Fairness. They want to make sure that's a different group, so let's not confuse the two. So, but OCPA, they came right out and championed the oil companies when we wanted to raise GPT. That was one of the things, and so now they're going to jump on the bandwagon of, oh man, we need to get all these industries to do this. This is, I mean, and then you just got to see the cowardice of these guys. One, the other thing they do is they say that we're going after the casino industry, and in all their language they talk about going after the casino industry, not Native American tribes. This is a wonderful little tail tuck that they're doing, because this allows them to almost, it puts up a shield wall for them so that they don't have to, say, oh, we're not against the tribes. This isn't anything against the tribes. This is against the casino industry, which is BS, because the casino industry in Oklahoma is the native tribes. That's what they're doing. This is how they get their revenue. Not just the only way, but it's a big portion of it. And to say that is just, it's the biggest cowardly thing I've ever heard. We're not attacking the tribes, we're attacking the casino industry. Tell me, man, you guys really don't buy that, do you? Yeah, I mean, come on, you're not going to buy that. So getting off of that point, with this new group that's come out, the Stitts seem to have an ally in, a dark money group that won't tell you who they are, who their money donors are, or that they're even in league with another group. It's obviously when you have 2 or 3 members of this organization, members of the organization, and you're just not going to believe that. No one's going to buy it, and I feel sorry for anybody who does, because it's just not true. And I'm not sure what Stitt's game plan is here. Here we are. In the last show I did several weeks ago, I talked about, hey man, the AG hired this law firm for $200,000. Oh my God, out of state for $200,000. I couldn't find anybody here. And then to come out 3 weeks later that, we fired those guys. The AG office gave it to the governor to do. So he hired another out-of-state law firm in Washington for $300,000. Well, that didn't go over too well. So he got rid of those guys, and now he's got a couple of local law firms, as I showed in the last program. I kind of touched off on this. So when you see something like that's floundering. That's not having a game plan. That's not being able to execute your plan. It's not being able to achieve any goals that way. You're just not going to. And if you saw anything in the last show where I talk about strategy and political strategy, well, you can see him floundering all over the place. How many allies has he lost? He's lost all kinds of people. 2 lawyer groups, and I don't know. And then he hasn't said anything about that group in Washington. Hey man, why'd you let them go? He didn't say anything about it. Now I'm using these 2 other groups from Oklahoma, and I'm not going to tell you how much I'm paying him either of your tax money. He's not going to tell you how much he's paying them to defend us against the Native American tribes here in Oklahoma. And that's why I was saying it's like this is Stitt's last stand, man. He's blundered his way into this. He's putting our revenues at risk for education. That wouldn't have had to happen if they would just not had done this in the first place. It's just a big fiasco, and this isn't going to work well for anybody the way this is keep going on. You got Governor Stitt, some law groups locally in Oklahoma, and this new group called Oklahomans for Fairness, who is the same as Oklahoma, the OCPA. So don't let them fool you. They're the same people. They're the same icky con men that you've always known and I guess loved, and then that's the full story that I want to get out this week. So there you have it. Governor Stitt, a couple of law firms that we don't know what we're paying them, and this new group, Oklahomans for Fairness, which is, kind of the same as the old group, but they don't want you to know that, or who they're funding, or who they're getting anything from, or anything else. They just want you, oh, no, you don't need to know that. Just listen to me and believe what I tell you. But I'm sorry, Mr. Small, he's said so many dishonest things over the last several years. You can't believe a word that guy says. So that's just it. I hope you guys do your own research on this. Take a look at what's going on with this new group, and join me next week on Across the Desk with Kit Fairchild.